financial planning to us is about connecting the dots. It's about connecting point A to point B.
Welcome to the Insurance Refocused podcast, where we're highlighting real agent stories and how they are innovating to respond to the changes and challenges happening in the independent insurance industry. My name's Lindsay, and I can't wait to introduce you to my amazing co-host, who just so happens to be my mom, Carey Wallace. Mom, how you doing today?
I'm having a great day, Lindsay. I am getting ready for the holidays. We're getting ready to go on a trip to see a lot of our good friends. Like, this is a great day. How's your day going?
It's going good. I'm ready to power down for the holidays. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm feeling the holiday itch, but when this episode comes out, we'll be on the new year. It'll be in January, so I'm sure I will be on some major health kick that will last me for like a month or so, and then I'll be doing something crazy, drinking way too much, ordering McDonald's, something. We'll see what happens.
I don't know about that. You actually started last year with a commitment to working out, and you stuck with it pretty heavily this year. I was super impressed. So I don't know. And anyway, so I'm thinking probably in the new year, I might jump on that wagon because we do have a wedding coming, you know?
This year.
A wedding.
When this comes out, it'll be the year I get married. That's crazy.
That's the crazy stuff. So today, I'm super excited. I love when we have guests on our podcast that speak my language and speak the language that every business owner should speak, which is that financial language. So today, we are welcoming three people that all speak financial language. We're going to call this the Financial Guru website, if you will. We're having Aaron Stocks from Agency Point join us again. And then we have Andre and Ivan coming from Sentinel Wealth Advisory Group, or SWAG, which is much easier for me to remember. I love that you said that. No one will ever forget your name if they call it SWAG, just so you know. So welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you are welcome. You are welcome. So I'm going to kick us off with Andre. Give us a little bit of your background, and then we're going to jump in, and then we're going to hear from Ivan, and then we'll jump right into things if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, of course. First and foremost, thank you for having us. A bit about myself. Our practice is based out in Los Angeles. I'm not from here originally. Actually grew up in between New York and rural Argentina. Literally both ends of the possible livable spectrum. I moved out to Los Angeles about 15 years ago with my then girlfriend, now wife, and mother of two children. And I split my time between my two jobs, my career and raising two children.
I love that. We all split our time between jobs. I love how you put that. And hopefully we give enough time to each, right? That's like one of the hardest balances in the world, right? In the world. So how about you, Ivan? Tell us a little bit about you.
So I started in this business almost 20 years ago, straight from college. And prior to that, I was actually born and raised in Hong Kong. I finished high school there, moved here for school. And my family thought that I would just move back right after school. But once I met my wife, now, family of four, father of two children, I'm not going back. So started in this job, like I said, since college. And now Andre and we run a independent financial advisory practice in Los Angeles. So yeah, glad to be here.
I love that. Ivan, all I can say is there's a commonality between what you guys said. You met a girl, and the next thing you know, we're all here. So when people wonder who runs the world, I'm just saying we might have a little bit of a pattern.
We do not wonder.
I'm just joking. Well, before we jump in, I do want to introduce Aaron. I know, Aaron, you've been a guest on the podcast a couple of times, but I do want to have those people that might not have listened to that episode or not pay attention to my social at all. Tell the people who you are, my friend.
First of all, if you don't know me and you're on Carey's podcast, how dare you? My name is Aaron Stocks. I'm the CEO of PFS Global, and we run Agency Point, which is industry-specific financial services to independent agents. That'd be anything from bookkeeping, taxes, payroll, etc. So if you don't know us, you go to myagencypoint.com and find out more about us. But just happy to be here to introduce Andre and Ivan and how we work together. Thanks for having us on, Carey and Lindsay.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. So
to kick it off, I think it would be really nice to recognize, right, to kick off the podcast, that agencies that are facing financial planning needs are not on an island. And I'm sure that I can feel like that sometimes if you're, a producer who's come up, built your book, but you're not necessarily in that financial mindset. So let's identify what are some of the key financial needs that independent agencies face today.
Yeah, I'll kick this one off. So what we do, Carey and Lindsay's, we help our clients build wealth and navigate financial decisions as effectively and confidently as possible. We service a few niche end markets, one of them being independent insurance agencies. And so for our audience today, one of the biggest pitfalls that we see, and maybe just kind of stepping back, with this initial answer, is we commonly see agency owners focus entirely or too narrow on their business, right? And don't get me wrong, that's why they built success for themselves. But what we're asking, or what our process kind of pushes you to do, is take a step back and give the same structure, direction, and passion to financial decisions that affect you as individuals, both you and your family, as you do with your business. So that just changing the lens of approach right there is one of the biggest pitfalls that we kind of implore our clients to switch their thinking.
So, Andre, I couldn't agree more. Like, listen, I'm in the business of valuing independent insurance agencies and helping them maximize the value of their business all day, every day. Like, that's my focus. I want to simplify it. I want to make it as easy as possible. And I want them to have as many options as possible. And I think what you're saying is if you only focus on one asset, then you're limiting and you're actually creating risk personally from a financial perspective. Am I interpreting that right?
100%.
Yes.
That's absolutely correct. And it's a common pitfall. It's natural. But, if you think of the stages of the business, there's pre-exit and building wealth, which you've done. You built an asset. Now it's a matter of kind of transitioning, diversifying that wealth into other areas of other assets, things that can create less risk, less volatility, and ultimately more peace of mind as you prepare for that second stage, that actual business exit. And we're firm believers in the value of preparedness, and we believe that ultimately that preparedness provides a tremendous amount of peace of mind and confidence along the way. And results, most importantly.
Yes. So, Ivan, move us through what are some of the things that an agency owner can do to help diversify? Like, what are some easy, quick ways they can think differently about this and diversify their portfolio to not be so heavily focused on their business?
Right. So let me take a step back and talk about big picture financial planning and what that really means, especially to agency owners. So
Sure.
Financial planning to us is about connecting the dots. It's about connecting point A to point B. Point A is where they are today. Point B is where they want to go. And financial planning is simply a process to build a roadmap to get there, to get to that point B. So I would say the first step is to understand what that point B is. We have found that a lot of business owners, agency owners, they don't have a clearly defined point B. They know exactly what they want to achieve as a business, right? They have their business metrics, they have their KPIs, but they don't understand most of the time personally what are they trying to achieve as a family. So defining that point B is key. And once you have that, then we have the end goal in mind, and then we would work backwards with them to show them what kind of wealth they need to accumulate in order to be able to hit that target. And then that exit, of course, is a big part of it, but it's not the only solution to get there. And diversifying their wealth to get there, to us, will be a more prudent way to ultimately achieve that point B.
Yeah. So obviously diversifying wealth by investing not just in the agency, but in other resources outside of the agency. And it could be investing in real estate. It could be investing in other businesses. It could be investing with you all in stocks, bonds, portfolio management. And I guess my question to you is, how do you help navigate those decisions? Is it all based on where you're trying to get to, or is there a method for you to then discern which investments make sense for which people? Because I'm sure it's not a one size fits all, correct?
Correct. I think generally speaking, we're believers in taking the least amount of risk as you need, right?
Yeah.
There's no point in swinging for a home run and striking out if all you need is a single. So I have to echo what you said, Carey, diversifying into other securities like stocks, bonds, real estate, all these other things that, again, start to spread wealth a little bit. So if something goes wrong in one category, it doesn't bring down the entire house.
What about, obviously agency owners are people too, right? So how do things like marriage, buying a home, like personal milestones, how should that be impacting their financial planning of their business?
I'm surprised you didn't say weddings. Like I'm
said
surprised.
marriage.
There you go. Like, I mean, we know we're doing a marriage here, so she's going to get you have her own vice here, just in case anyone's wondering, right?
Yeah. As Ivan said, it starts with a roadmap, but life's always changing. Life around us, circumstances changing, and so whether we try to prepare clients for whatever occurs, whether it's planned or unplanned, and having the context of a plan makes dealing with each individual circumstance as it comes a lot easier, because we can plug into kind of the baseline that we already know where you're heading and determine what its impact is both now and in the future, whatever that financial decision is. So our job, we're constantly course correcting for clients. So as the world around us changes, we're still heading in the direction that we need to go.
Yeah. And the planning needs between the pre-sale phase and the post-sale phase is very different. In the pre-sale phase, what we have found is a lot of business owners, agency owners, they're not paying themselves enough. And it's not because they don't want to, it's because they just don't know how much they should be paying themselves so that they can allow themselves to accumulate wealth outside of the business. So figuring out how much they will need to save, how much they would need to invest, what it takes to hit certain targets, especially if it is not a long-term goal like retirement, maybe buying a home, buying a vacation home, sending kids through college, right? These are things that are priorities to a lot of agency owners prior to that exit. So how do you utilize the business to pay yourself correctly, sufficiently, so you can hit those goals is something that we focus on. And then, of course, the post-sale phase is completely different. Right now that you are, a successful agency owner ready to exit, and you have accumulated sufficient wealth, how do you turn on that income stream from this wealth to make sure that the asset will actually last and ultimately maybe even leaving a legacy? And we work with some agency owner that may even want to have their children take over the business. So that planning needs in that post-sale phase is, very different than the pre-sale.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But Aaron, this makes me think of tax. It just, like, as he's thinking, I'm thinking like an agency owner, and I'm thinking, how do I plan for the tax strategy during that time? That often impacts how an agency owner pays themselves based on their corporate structure, but also post sale. How do I manage the tax strategy? How do I just think about the whole picture? Can you lend some light to the whole tax conversation? Because I know that comes up a ton.
Yeah, pretty much every client that we have mutually the conversation of tax and minimizing it comes up, right? So we at Agency Point have a 30-point checklist that we go through of how to reduce your tax, right? And we're not those Instagram people that's like open 10 LLCs and do this and do that, and you're never going to pay tax ever again. But realistic and honest tax planning is very important. And number 3 on our tax planning checklist is using, retirement or deferred tax vehicles, which these guys will get into, whether that's, pre-sale or post-sale, like Ivan was saying. So I think, Carey and Lindsay, that we should press these guys like you do to me on some details, right?
Yeah,
What
for sure.
can we do to reduce tax pre-sale and post-sale? And what are these specific investments that, you guys like agency owners to invest in?
Heck yeah. Let's get some free advice here, gentlemen. Like, tell us if I was an agency owner, what would you tell me are the best examples of things that I should invest in as an agency owner besides my agency? What are those things?
And maybe throw in how the tax deferrals work too, guys.
Sure.
That'd be awesome.
I wouldn't be so much, what you would be investing in particularly. That depends on the client situation. But I would say that if you're an agency owner, you don't have a retirement plan, you're really missing out. That's a key way to not only have, as a tax deferral strategy when you pay yourself, but also it's a way to attract and retain talents, for the business. So setting up a 401k plan, educating your employees, providing a company's match, it's a great way to get started. And depending on the size of the business, the age of the employees and owners, we also work with business owners to set up defined benefit pension plan, and is a much more powerful vehicle to defer your income, for retirement accumulation purpose.
And that's a huge point, if you don't mind. Can you guys go through what's the difference between a 401k and a defined benefit plan?
Yep.
Sure. Yeah. 401k is a defined contribution plan. It's simple, easy to manage, and you make contribution, and then you could take a deduction, from your income. I would also stress that deferring your income is not the only way to plan for taxes. And nowadays, you can have a Roth 401k, or you can do Roth conversion strategy within a 401k, so that you have some tax diversification and start accumulating tax-free assets for retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, defined benefit plan or pension plan, it's a way to put in even more money in a tax deferred way for retirement beyond your 401k contribution.
One of the key ways of thinking about this, agency owners, is when we take receipt of $1 of income, right, you're paying a certain amount of taxes. And these are your high earning years, right? So you're sharing every dollar. If you take receipt of that, you're sharing every dollar 30, 40 cents with the IRS and the state. Being able to defer that dollar and really put 100% of that dollar in a savings vehicle in your name, that you can then control the taxation on the way back out when you're retired, and you control the spigot of income. So one of the things that we do with clients is we create tax efficient retirement paychecks, right? How much from each vehicle that you have saved can make a big difference in what your actual taxable income is, regardless of what your net income is. So for now, leaning on those retirement salary deferral vehicles is very important to take full receipt of that dollar, and then we control how much taxes we have to pay down the road when you have more control.
Do you guys recommend doing this for just the agency owner, or is there also things you can do for this with staff? And maybe not all staff, but like top talent or something.
Great question, Lindsay. Absolutely everyone should in some degree. To Ivan's point, it all comes back to the context of what's your plan individually, but absolutely this is a strategy that should be utilized by most everyone, if not everyone.
So when you're working with your clients, are you also working with their employees, or you're just working with the agency owner, and then the agency owner has to explain this to their staff? How does that work?
So one of the benefits that we provide in working with agency owners is constructing retirement plans. So we'll take a look at your staff role. We'll create and kind of structure a retirement plan specific to your situation. Not only constructing the plan, but we go out and we do education. So at least once a year, we'll hop on a virtual meeting that we invite all of your staff members or in person, and we'll actually start to talk about some of the concepts we're discussing today. What is this vehicle? How does this benefit you? How to utilize it? All of those sorts of things. So that retirement plan structure, that benefit structure, is an immense retention tool to keep top producers, top talent, and provide a little bit more, I should say, care that you want your staff members to grow with you, and you want them to have financial literacy and all the kind of give them the tools to really take control of their financial futures as well.
I'm sitting here thinking about some of the agency owners that are thinking about transitioning their ownership or selling externally, even selling internally and, passing their agency on to the next generation. They are at the top of their earning. And if they had the discipline to even take a third of that and put it in something that they would then pay themselves at a different tax bracket, that could be incredibly massive and also change the pressure and what they need their agency to give them in order to maintain the same lifestyle. It's a concept that I'm not 100% sure many people are thinking about or talking about. Can you give me an idea of how many people are leveraging that, and how many people, when they come to you, have known about that concept?
You'd be surprised. Most clients know the concept, but they're just not taking full advantage of it. And so oftentimes agency owners will have, a few IRAs from previous work they forgot about or know they're out there. They don't even know how it's invested. And again, all that concept of just focusing almost too narrowly on the business, right? Where we really want to start, putting your individual best interests in mind. But I will say they're underutilized. So part of working with clients is to show them, and we actually, through our process, we start to model out different scenarios of your financial life. And we can show you pretty specifically to the dollar the impact of doing it this way versus that way. And your audience, once you see that, front and center, there's no arguing, right? Those numbers, those dollars and cents. And that's what really resonates with our clients.
I agree with Andre. It's some agency owners have 401k plans. They may have an IRA. They may have some investment here and there. They may have some insurance policy. But what they lack is someone like us quarterbacking all of that together. They may have these tools. They don't know how to use it, and they don't know. They may not necessarily know how to take full advantage of it.
Yeah. Honestly, when you're talking about that, I'm thinking about what I do. So, agency owners have financial information in front of them, but if you're not quarterbacking it and you don't know how to put it together and know the impact of it, it's just numbers. Like it's very isolated, and the impact of what you can do is lost, sadly. So I agree with you. And the reality is, many of the agency owners that I work with, first of all of the agency owners that I work with are incredible people. But to say that they have a financial background would be an absolute lie. They have a great relationship ability. There's a handful of them that have a finance degree and speak my language, but that is the
Right.
minority, not the majority. So this is a foreign concept, and we have a tendency of putting our heads down, focusing on what we know and where we're comfortable, and not actually thinking about this. I'm sitting here wondering to myself, how important is it if I'm an agency owner to have, and I know the answer to this, but I'd like to hear your thoughts, like to have a wealth advisor, a legal team, a tax advisor, all understanding my business versus one that maybe works with everybody under the sun. Tell me from your perspective, what are some pitfalls if you don't have someone who fully understands your business structure as your wealth advisor? That's a better way of putting it.
Yeah. One of the reasons we feel that we're experts with your audience is we see a lot of ourselves in them. As we got to know Aaron and his team at Agency Point, we saw a lot of parallels, right? We're both independent franchises or independent businesses, not captive. You have premium, we have AUM. You derive commission from those premiums. We get fees from depending on AUM. You have agency management systems. We have customer relationship management systems. So there's a lot of overlap. Some of the challenges that we face as business owners, very similar. How to retain top talent, how to, again, diversify our wealth and not solely rely upon a balloon payment in the future that may or may not come, but taking control now over my financial future, regardless of whatever occurs down the road. So I think having those parallels and viewing our businesses very similarly helps position us as thought leaders in this space.
What about you, Aaron? What do you see as the benefits of having multiple advisors that all actually understand each other and understand the business?
Yeah, as you know, and we've been on some calls together where we're taking on a new client who's coming from the guy down the street or a family member that doesn't know insurance, right? And that's fine. I mean, not everyone can know the industry, but we're able to cut through a lot of the BS on the call and just get right to the point, right? We know the industry, we speak the same language, we can point you in the right direction. So instead of learning the industry first and then trying to implement some ideas that we've found, we've already been through this 100 times. We can implement the strategy that hundreds of other independent agents are already doing. And that obviously is very true in accounting, with the CFO advisory and valuations you guys do. Obviously, that's probably more important than on the accounting side. On the tax side, it's equally as important, just understanding how independent agents and the deductions that they can take. And I think to Andre's point with the wealth advisory and investments, knowing what independent agents' motivations are, which is growing their agency and selling it or passing it on to their beneficiaries one day, is their motivation. So Andre and Ivan can hop on. They already know most of what needs to be done here, and they just need to execute a plan that's worked historically, right? And having all of us that know the industry versus, we all know when we hop on a call with an outlier, right? Like someone that doesn't know the industry, they're asking us about the industry, wondering what an AMS is or what premium is, and you really do have to educate that person. So we're really able to just be more efficient and tackle the problems that independent agents are facing by being industry experts.
So as this episode is dropping in January of next year, I would love to think about what is your guys' biggest advice if an agency wanted to make like a New Year's resolution or a financial based goal. What would you guys say that they should start thinking about?
I'll go back to a previous answer. I think first and foremost, you have to step back and be honest with yourself and self-reflective about looking at your efforts on a day-to-day basis as it relates to you as an individual and a family owner, not just as a business owner. Switching that lens of how you're approaching your efforts will make a tremendous amount of difference. And I'll have to cheat code this by adding a slight second is we're passionate about the work that we do with clients and helping individuals and families and small businesses. So whether it's us or someone else, go reach out, learn about services like ours, and start outsourcing, quite frankly, to others, qualified individuals and groups to help you along this process.
Yeah. How about you, Ivan? What would you tell someone if they were making their New Year's resolution? What is the number one thing that should be on their list?
Working with business owners and agency owners, I'd say one of the biggest goals you can set to achieve is to create an agency that is not dependent on you. I think in the end that will create so much bigger enterprise value beyond your expectation.
That's one of the biggest things that we work with agents to do, which I think is one of the best advice you can have. How do you make yourself obsolete which in turn makes your agency more transferable than any other agency and therefore more valuable. The performance of the agency doesn't depend on you. That is key. Great, great advice, Ivan. All right, Aaron, you're bringing us home, and that's a tough one to top. What advice would you give if you're creating your New Year's resolution and you're an agency owner? What advice would you give to them?
It's a tough follow-up since, they took all the good ones. No, I would look back, let's say that you guys are in January now, right? You just went through the holidays. If in January you're an agency owner, you did not do any tax planning, you did not do any budgeting or forecasting for the next year with Carey, you did not decide how much you're going to put in your retirement account, right? You are behind the 8 ball. I'm going to say that now. So if you're in January and you didn't do that already in December, you're behind the 8 ball, and I would immediately try to rectify that by contacting whomever you need to, like us, to get this ball rolling, because you are behind. And guys, I'm an agency owner too, or not agency owner. I'm a business owner too, just like all of us here, right?
Yeah.
I probably have gotten 50 emails while I'm on this podcast shooting, and you guys just listening have probably gotten 50 emails and 5 texts. This is the last thing we want to worry about. But if you just take a little time and plan, your efforts will be, a lot more fruitful if you can just have a plan drawn out.
Yeah, actually, they could be exponential. And honestly, we're hardworking people. We want our stuff to work for us. You don't want to work hard to get little. We want to work less and make it huge impact. So I really appreciate you guys coming on and sharing. I certainly appreciate the partnership, and I look forward to helping agents everywhere help make sound financial decisions, whether it's part of their business, where it's part of their personal, or it's their tax. Absolutely, we're here to help in that guide. I hope you guys have a great holiday, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much
for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Insurance Refocused podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, please be sure to hit subscribe and leave us a review so you'll never miss us. Want to learn more about how Agency Focus can help you grow your agency? Head to agency-focus.com or email Carey directly at carey@agency-focus.com. If you need to get in touch with me, feel free to shoot me an email at lindsay@agency-focus.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.